Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today's going to be a little different. I have a rifle. I'm not going to review it, but I'm going to showcase it a little bit. Because the guys over at FAXON were kind enough to let me borrow it for a little while. And I apologize. I'm out here in the backyard. The highway's behind me a little bit. It's kind of windy. My range is occupied today, so you know, do what you can with what you got. So today I'm just going to, do a first shots, kind of talk about the gun a little bit. I'm going to try to print some groups to get an idea. If you're not familiar, 22s are different than, say, a centerfire rifle. If you're hand loading a centerfire, you can adjust your load for the rifle. And with 22s, you can't really do that. You kind of have to shoot a bunch of different ammo to see what the rifle likes, okay? So I have a bunch of Eley ammo, and because each type of ammo, it shoots different. They use different wax as a lubricant on the bullet, different wax material, so that can adjust how it shoots. So shooting the 22 is kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to precision work to figure out what your gun likes. But once you find what it likes, it's usually good to go. So today, just a little first shots, kind of showcase the rifle a little bit. I'll tell you some of the features that I know about it, and we'll get into this. Let's get it zeroed. So I'm doing things a little weird. I mean, I took this scope off of my PRS gun, off my Christensen, and put it on here. So I'm not bore sighted or anything. Usually I like to put my target about 25 yards, get it on paper, make sure, and then I'll take it out to 50 and actually do some work. I'm at 50 right now, so, I mean, we'll see. It should be fine, right? I'll zoom in a little bit, that way I can actually tell what I'm doing. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. I love shooting with a can on a 22, and I'm not gonna lie, it was all over the place at 50 yards with the can on it. I take the can off and I'm actually grouping. All right, now, like I said, first shots, and it really doesn't mean anything, as far as you got to foul your barrel and get all this in, but so far, man, that gun shoots really nice. The trigger's fantastic. One of the issues with using a semi-auto for matches like PRS or NRL matches is we like to use subsonic ammo a lot of times, or standard velocity stuff. That way the bullet doesn't go transonic, and it kind of, once you get out at distance and you lose accuracy. But with a semi-auto, you require that pressure to cycle the action, and that can be an issue with the lower powered stuff. But I'm going to show you this right now. So Like my first, I was just using this for a reference point. My first shot was here, second shot was here, third shot was here with the can on it, and then the fourth shot I think was over here. Oh, Jesus. So with the can on, my first shot's here, second shot's here, third shot was over here on the board, and then the fourth shot was down here. I take the can off and shoot 6 more times, and there's my group. You know, it's stringing a little bit, but it's Eley target, you know, and it's it's the first 10 shots out of the barrel. So once we get shooting, it should tighten up a little bit. But I have a bunch of different ammo to try. You know, that's not a bad group. I'm like I said, first shots, I'm just trying it out here. Seeing how the gun shoots, and so far, like I said, that trigger is fantastic. All right, so now I've got 10 rounds of the Eley Club loaded up. That was Eley target that I shot before. Shot pretty well. And you're probably saying, well, that's their cheaper stuff. And you're right. The target, the club, they're in their less expensive line. But I've found, and I know a lot of other people have found out, that like it shoots really well for precision work. Like I said, I've got their semi-auto precision, you know, we'll try it next, but I'm just putting rounds through the gun, see how it feels. I've got a magazine of 10 rounds loaded up. So this is a 1022 platform, but it's all FAXON as far as the rifle. You know, it takes the 1022 magazines, but let's get some more shots downrange. All right, so this group, it's a little bit better. I did shank the last shot. So this is a 10-round group at 50 yards with Eley Club. And tell me what you think. Right there. So, yeah, like I said, I pulled the last shot, but there's 9. You know, I don't know what they claim from FAXON. I expect this to be a half MOA. Yeah. Or is it one MOA? I think what the premium 22s claim is 1 MOA. No, half MOA at 50. So it's 1 at 100. I don't know why they do it at 50. But so far I'm saying that's absolutely it. At 50 yards, it'll print a 1/2 inch group. Yeah, I'm saying it's probably going to do that. All right, so the next box of ammo is going to be the semi-auto 22 bench rest precision. So if you notice, I'm going up in price of ammo as I'm going, like what the ammo costs. We'll see how much. I'm not really comparing the ammo, but I guess I am in this video. Excuse me, geez, in this video. But, you know, so the Eley target starts out at $8.99. The club shot really well, so that's $9.99 where I buy it from. This stuff is $15.99 for a box of 50. So let's see if it's any better. So in theory, it's semi-auto bench rest precision. This should be perfect for this gun. It should cycle great. Also keep in mind, I've got $100 worth of 22 ammo here today. And everything I'm doing, I'm going to have to redo later when I really start getting into the weeds as far as precision work and feeling this stuff out at distance. What I like to do with like a bolt gun is I'll shoot, say, a box of ammo, and solvent swab the barrel to clean out the wax, the lead, everything from that type of ammo, then start over with a different box. I'm not doing that today because these semi-autos are a little bit harder to get in there and swab the bore. You know, I guess a bore snake could work, but I'd need a different bore snake for each different ammo to try to keep it segregated. So I'm kind of just going 10 shots with each to see how they do. And my plan is to go from there. But also, like I said, this is just a first shots of the rifle, and God, I'm impressed so far. And you might be asking, you know, what would you use this rifle for? I mean, you could hunt with anything, right? I don't know that I would necessarily want to hunt with it, but say your NRL matches, PRS work, it's right up there. And so it's got the flame fluted bull barrel, and I'll show some close-ups of that because that is sexy. And this Magpul Hunter stock, it's a nice entry-level stock. It has some M-lock slots in the front that, like, we could add some weights and do some things, maybe, and put an Arca rail on the bottom. But I'm really thinking I might try to find a chassis for this setup, because then that'd be great. So, you know, the gun's light. If you notice how I'm shooting here, like, I'm not inputting anything into the rifle. I'm getting it on target, and if I need to raise or lower, I'll just squeeze this bag or whatever, and I'm just on the trigger. I'm not touching it back here. I'm not inputting anything, so it's as steady as can be with this system I've got here. Okay, so it may take some work, or I don't know. There's not really any more work because the rifle was in the same spot every time. So this is just a group that printed out with that semi-auto bench rest precision. This group right here. I mean, so everything is within an MOA, but, you know, I would rather them all be in this hole rather than these holes out here. You know, I want to be able to shoot a fly at 50 yards. So, you know, I don't have an end cap on it. My suppressor's off because it wasn't shooting very well with it. But check out this flame fluting. It's FAXON's patented flame fluting. That is incredible. This is my first time actually seeing it in person. I might have to start ordering more barrels with that. All right, so next up is the Eley match. Now these are all 40 grain, you know, standard velocity ammo. And I'll point out something with the match. So it's $21.99 a box of 50. So twice as much. You know, we're getting up into the not being affordable for a 22. You know what I mean? Well, I guess it's still affordable, but it's getting expensive for a 22. But these, I'm not sure what wax they use to lube the bullets, but it feels like they're coated in lard, just a grease. You know, very slimy, very greasy bullets. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm happy about what I just saw. Let's go take a look. So I know when I first started shooting PRS, I did the same thing with my other rifle. I think that first summer I shot 5,000 rounds before my first match, just to get that gun dialed in. So with my bolt action, my Christensen, it liked CCI standard velocity the most. I could shoot Eley Club, was a close second, but CCI standard seemed to print half-inch groups, 5 shots in one jagged hole. Today I'm shooting 10, and the reason is because I figure the first 5 to kind of foul it, and then the second 5 will really kind of pull it together. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be. I don't know. It's just, I'm an amateur, I'm just out here finding stuff out. But, so what I found out that first year was my gun didn't like expensive ammo, and this one may be the same. So here's my group, and now, like I said, so these first shots were I had 5 kind of all over the place, and now the second 5 were all right here. Okay, so it is coming together the way I thought, but I don't know, it may just take some more work. I might actually shoot 5 more of that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to shoot 5 more, and if they're not one jagged hole, I'm going to move on. Now I've got to kind of laugh at myself, because my theory here is, the first 5 fouls it and then the second 5 pulls it together. Well, my group, I'm shooting the same group. So in theory, I should do this with all of them all over again, shoot 5 and then shoot 10, shoot 5 to foul it, and then shoot 10 for group. But we're just seeing how this rifle's doing and everything right now. So we're not on our actual precision work just yet. I'm also waiting for the wind. We've got a storm rolling in. Here we go. I'll shut up. That may be something. Will this gun shoot all of it like that? It's kind of looking that way. The last group, I screwed it up. But I got 3 touching. Yeah. All right, full disclosure, I kind of screwed up there. So I'll do it again. 5 shots with the match. No, that wasn't anything great, by no means. So the 10 just filled in the hole more. 10 shots. I'll show you here. So here they are. 5 shots. 1, 2 touching, 3, 4 touching, and the 5th over here. So, it's still an MOA group, but it's nothing to write home about. So like I said in the beginning, that what I was afraid what I was doing was going to be an ammo video comparing to different ammo. But if you're paying attention, the rifle is freaking flawless. It's awesome. It's printing very well. That trigger, the action, smooth. I love the big bolt handle. Looks like a trigger shoe. Honestly, it looks like a big trigger. But the gun is running flawlessly. Barrel's not heating up in the least. Yeah. All right, so the last box for today is the Eley Ultra 22 Extreme Long Range. Okay. 40 grain bullets. Comes in at $25.99 for a box of 50. So this is the most expensive. You would think it would be the best. I don't know. I don't have a gun that likes that expensive stuff. I've got expensive guns, and so I don't know who's using this stuff or what they use it for. I know like the 10X is also $25, $26 a box, $30 a box. and I believe that's what they use in, like in the Olympics. My gun didn't like it at all. So, like I said, might take some more testing and tuning, but right now just shooting factory ammo with a factory rifle. It's looking like the Eley Club at $10 a box of 50. But like I said, we're about to shoot this and see what happens. Uh-oh. 5 shots in, I've got 1 hole. We'll do the next 5. Interesting. So if you're wondering why I'm doing things the way I am, because a lot of guys, they'll do like a 3-shot group or a 5-shot group, but when we shoot the PRS matches, we're shooting a string of 10, sometimes 12 shots in a minute 45, minute 45, a minute 45 seconds. Yeah. So 10 shots. This last group is very interesting to me, because the first 5 was one jagged hole. I'll show you here. So here's my 10-shot group. The first 5 were all this right here. And then after that, I dropped a couple. Now, it could have been me. I was kind of holding my breath and doing things wrong. But I was positive in my hold and like trigger squeeze and everything. That's so if I cut that off too quick, I was saying that I was positive in my trigger squeeze and my hold. I know I didn't drop any shots, but that's one I'm going to keep in mind. I'm going to do some more work with. I'm going to work with all of them, see, compare them, but shoot them all again. I'm going to shoot that rifle a lot more, but the trigger on that. So I've got a 1022. It was my first gun when I was, I think, 13. No, I was 11. Either way, 100 years ago. A Ruger 1022 carbine was my first gun. And they don't have great triggers. I know there are aftermarket triggers for them. I've never shot one with an aftermarket trigger. I just know that a lot of times, with any platform, the triggers are no good. The trigger that's in this FAXON 22, butter smooth. It's not like a bolt action, like a Geisley or any of the other precision triggers. It doesn't feel like that, but for a semi-auto, it is a fantastic trigger. I'm very impressed. So I don't know what else I need to say about the gun. I'll get some close-ups of it, but so far, if you're looking to break into any type of competition 22 shooting and you want a semi-auto, look at the FAXON FX22. Seriously, the barrel, the trigger, they now have, it's a bent chamber in them. So it's set up for precision work. You're not going to shoot CCI stingers out of it or anything crazy hot like that. You don't want to do that, that's not what you do. It's not what you use. But for an out of the box, ready to go shooter, boy howdy, let me tell you. So as always, thanks for watching. I'll put in some B-roll of the rifle. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, all the YouTube things, The fact that you guys are watching are helping me get things like this to test out and kind of give my opinion on. So I appreciate it. And as always, we'll see you next time. Later.